this one coaching tool could change your life? We are going to share that with you today.
We've borrowed ideas from a variety of people that we have admired and followed, such as Jody Moore, Don Miguel Ruiz, Carol Tuttle, Dr. Greg Bear, and others who have been major influences on our thoughts about thoughts.
Thinking about thoughts is one of the most strategic ways that we can elevate our own lives if we do so in a manner that is more supportive to our highest good. And we'll explain what we mean. First of all, we want to just tell you the acronym for our coaching model is FSIBO, and it stands for facts, stories, energy, emotion, behavior, and outcome. Those are the words that FSIBO stands for, and we'll walk you through how to use this model for yourself.
First of all, we focus on separating facts from stories. Stories are the interpretations or the meanings we give to things. For example, have you ever thought, because you got divorced, for example, that life will never be quite as good again? Do you ever feel like I'm unworthy and not acceptable because the person who knew me the best didn't want me anymore? Do you ever feel like things are not as they should be? I didn't get married to get divorced. You know, you can go down that path a long way and it leads to a dark abyss.
And the same can be true if you lost love through death and became a widow or widower, or you have remained single throughout your life and haven't had the opportunity to marry. It can play with your mind and your emotions in a way that is detrimental to you.
In the scriptures, we learn that we are created in the image of God to act and not to be acted upon. And we can be acted upon by our thoughts, right? That's an important thing to recognize and to ask ourselves, am I acting or am I being acted upon? And if I'm acted upon by my feelings, that may take me to that dark place. How do we change those feelings? Well, you change feelings by changing thoughts.
And feelings are closely linked to our energy. And energy can both be the amount of get up and go in our physical bodies, but it can also be our energetic state, our emotional well-being. And it's similar but different. And so we put those together as emotions and energy, and they kind of go in a cycle, right?
Right.
I mean, I know I've sometimes been maybe low in physical energy, but high in vibration, meaning I feel good. I feel gratitude, which is very high on the vibration of energy. And then there's been other times I've had plenty of get up and go, but I've been weighed down with anxiety and fear, and that is very low on the vibration scale. So when we're talking about energy, we're talking about the kinds of emotions that bring our whole being up or down.
Right. You could be experiencing that high energy or the gratitude that Cathy is talking about, even lying in a hospital bed.
And most often, well, let's go back to the stories and the facts, because separating the stories from the facts is probably one of the most difficult parts of this model, and one of the reasons why people hire life coaches like us to help sort out the difference and come up with thoughts that may be beyond what you're even capable of imagining you could think and believe.
If you wonder, it's normal to think negative thoughts, particularly when you've had traumatic experiences in life. Our brain is 2 million years old, and it's designed to protect us more than to make us happy. And so it is always looking and alert for what is wrong. And it's a pessimist. And so it requires deliberate, intentional effort to shift those feelings. And the way we shift those feelings is by shifting the thoughts that lead to them. And sometimes when we talk about our stories, my story used to be my wife broke our covenant of marriage, and, you know, I was unacceptable to her. She never thought that I was good enough. And all of these kinds of negative things. My life wasn't supposed to be this way. I didn't get married to get divorced. What's my story now? My story now is that was all part of my path, and it was part of leading me to this amazing woman that is now at my side. And without all of that, I wouldn't be with Cathy. And so that's my story today. In between those two events, there were a lot of mental shifts, a lot of times when I had to sort of get out of my own way mentally in my thoughts to create a new story. And you can do the same thing.
You can definitely do the same thing. And a lot of this can be applied on your own. And we wanted to give you this gift of knowledge that has come to us, that has helped us in our marriage and in our personal lives to create more joy and more high vibrational energy.
We can't cover every important element of this in a short video, but we would like you to check out our website and look at some of the other resources that we provide that explain this in greater depth.
I'd like to just talk for just a quick minute about the behavior and outcomes, because often, especially around New Year's, which we are currently in, we tend to make goals in the way of behavioral changes. And that usually requires some willpower. And what we're suggesting is that if you go back further from the behavior that would change the outcomes in your life to the stories you're telling about the facts of your life, and shift those so that your vibrational energy and your emotions will support very naturally the behaviors that will bring your desired outcome.
Cathy, this made me think about a friend of mine who I admire very much for her business acumen and intelligence and so on, who had a business that was very much oriented to in-person events. And when COVID hit, it was a devastating impact on her business, and the business had to close. I don't believe this person ever started thinking with a poverty mindset like, oh no, life is over. I've had my one chance at success. In fact, she's out there building another business. She's assembled a team of brilliant people to help her do that. And that's just one example of somebody who, maybe they got a raw deal from life in a moment where we all had struggles that we had to get past. The story isn't over until you say it is. And you can always shift it to make a tragedy into an opportunity.
You can heal faster and experience more positive growth in your life if you learn and apply these principles. We didn't know them when we were first divorced, and we had a really rough time for a very long time believing that our stories were facts when they weren't. In fact, if you go back to what Jeff was saying about all the thoughts he had about his life, they were only his stories, and he shifted them to create a different outcome, ultimately. Today we've shared with you the one tool we believe can change your life for the better. And although we shared it freely with you, we know that sometimes applying it isn't always easy without some help. So we want to offer to you the opportunity to come and get a coaching session with us personally, and we would be happy to help take you further in this process of shifting your stories and improving your life.
Remember, any time is a great time for more love in your life.